marathon budget speech, and this is where it culminates. India is to become a health superpower for its own people and then for the world. The position of government is now to become an enabler for India Inc. We are now seeing the biggest ever in the history of this country expansion of infrastructure, a large part of the budget focusing on how this is going to be done. So, health superpower, infrastructure enabling. This is and will be defined as the monetization budget. The monetization of government assets, the monetization of government companies. Air India is to be divested. LIC is to become an IPO. You are going to be seeing all the land assets lying with railways, lying with ministries to be opened up, for which special purpose vehicles are to be created to either sell this land, to get it moving in the economy, fallow land, or to lease it out. This is a three thematic push. The fourth theme is to clean up the heck hole that government regulation is. 2 lakh companies have been freed up from all sorts of compliance issues. We are now seeing decriminalization taking place of various tax compliance issues at a scale that was required to be done. Imagine you have a tax officer, forget, can levy a penalty, can send you to jail. All these things are being cleaned up. And the bottom line that seems to be is that India has today sent out a message that now we are here to do business. Our priority is ourselves. Let's open this up for first response. Dr. Raneet Mehta from the PhD Chamber of Commerce joining us, Sharmishta Ghosh back with us, Gautam Mukherjee back with us, Priya Sehgal joining us, Ashutosh Agarwal with us. Let me quickly rope in Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta, your first response, sir.
Thank you, Shab. In fact, this is definitely a very historic budget, as the expenditure for infrastructure and the way India had announced the Atmanirbhar, the self-reliant India, and this is the budget towards that direction. And as expected, there have been huge initiatives on healthcare sector and for rural economy and the monetization of assets, and they have also leveraged the fiscal space, like which is they're not constrained to do it.
Okay, okay, let's go through it. Let's go through specifics, sir, because we've had a lot of generalization. I want to go through specifics. Fiscal deficit 9.5% GDP. That's a hit or a miss, sir. We've gone for broke. That indicates how much government, not only revenue has fallen, but how much government is still spending, because government estimate budget spending before the lockdown has gone up from around between 30 to 32 lakh crores to 34 lakh crores. Good idea, well done. Ranjit ji, to you, sir. Good idea, well done. Okay, maybe he can't hear me. Let me ask the same question to Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam Mukherjee, fiscal deficit 9.5%. Good idea, well done.
Yes, absolutely. What was the option? Either that, or you'll have the finance minister crying off saying, I have no money, I can't help you, I can't do anything.
So was this a moaning groaning budget? Was this a moaning groaning budget?
No, not at all. She's hit her stride at last. And with great confidence, we are now set on the road to privatization.
Okay. Rapid fire, sir. Second thing, health spending, priority, number 1 item on the agenda. Are we set on that front?
Well, it's the best we've ever seen. We've tended to look at health and education as necessary evils. For the first time, we are playing to the tune that we could become the pharmacy of the world.
Okay, Gautam Mukherjee. Okay, next thing, what we were discussing.
Having healthy people.
Okay, what we were discussing in the morning. Infra. The scale of the infrastructure announcements of the thousands of kilometers of highways.
fisheries, ports. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a very good budget.
Okay, infra is well done. Now, divestment and monetization of government assets. The land banks, the SPVs to be cleared up, IPO for LIC, Air India is out of the picture, BPCL out of the picture. Gautam?
Yeah. Well, look, how much of this can be implemented quickly remains to be seen.
They're saying this year.
The direction, if it is a decade-long sort of Atmanirbhar vision, is excellent, and combined with there was no mention of defense at all, but we can see there's daily news on more and more things being made in India and in collaboration, and this is the right way. I can see the definite stepping away from socialism without sacrificing the poor.
Okay, let me get in Priya Sehgal. Priya, this is Modi's MSP Jawab within the budget. And he's told us that from 2014 to 2019, in some cases, MSP distribution to farmers in paddy and wheat has gone up between 70 to 100%, which means it's almost doubled. In pulses and cotton, it has gone up from anywhere between 20 times to 40 times. There has been a 10 to 15% increment in MSP given out or distributed to farmers between last year and this year. Have the facts now dented the argument?
So that was a political part of the budget, and as you said, that was totally aimed at the agitating farmers on our borders. He's trying to say that what are you complaining about? We've been giving MSP, it's not that we've been lagging behind. So clearly a political message over there. But the big political message also is, Rishabh, this is a budget that trusts. Until now we've been seeing us held with suspicion. There was, tax terrorism, there was increased taxes, there was always a budget that was anti-middle class. We always debated, why doesn't this government trust the middle class? Today, by trying to reduce the bureaucratic red tape, by actually, bringing in steps to reduce tax terrorism, like decreasing that, the period of inquiry from 6 to 3 years, etc., etc. I think this is a budget that is actually reaching out to the middle class, to the, although there have been no increase in direct taxes, there's also been no reduction in direct taxes, there's also been no increase in cess. So, with this government, we always look for
there are no new taxes.
So there is less bad part, and I think that's what we have to be happy about.
Okay, there are no new taxes.
There are some increases in cess aimed at the Chinese, I can see.
Okay.
and stress
We
not
don't
only
want your stuff, yes.
cess but also stress. Okay, quick word, Sharmishta, your quick verdict.
See, first, internet is very patchy in Gurgaon today.
Yeah, that's okay, Sharmishta, you give us your answer, please.
Yeah, so see, well, it was not a wow budget for me. The ones that we were expecting before, that it will be a wow thing, because there have been no mention of a lot of direct transfers or tax cuts or whatever. But having said so, it is what we were expecting. We did discuss, and we were expecting that there will be talks of more privatization, the sector is opening up.
Okay, let's take it one by one. Health expenditure. Health expenditure is near doubling. Good thing? Right direction?
Because it's been announced today, I will reserve my comments. Let's see how it pans out.
Okay, how it pans out.
It's not the
Okay.
wow budget that we were thinking, that some benefit, some very tangible benefit. I don't think so, because privatization is an announcement. How it will roll out, how will it be perceived,
doubling health spending, not impressive enough. Okay, on the MSPs, has the controversy been sorted? If the government says we've increased MSPs 15% year on year.
From the government's point of view, to a large extent, as my co-panelist Priya just said, they have already made a statement that by this is this, putting the things together, apple to apple. So to a large extent, from the government side, they have done it. Again, reception lies, in the hands of the people who are protesting. We cannot really comment how they'll react to it.
Okay, but the facts have been put out, and the finance minister has put out the facts in front of the government. Okay, let me get Ashutosh Agarwal. Ashutosh Agarwal, nothing on taxation other than the fact that the government is now trying to get out of the way, clean up these scrutinies and these you can go to jail and all these other things that were a heck hole for everyone. Ashutosh, if you can hear us.
And I didn't get you. Can you pardon?
That's okay. We'll get the audio fixed and we'll come back to you when we can. Let me go back to Dr. Ranit Mehta. Dr. Ranit Mehta, what would be your top 4 or 5 hits? What makes sense to you?
I think my 4 top things from the budget will be: number 1, this budget is clearly focusing on sustainability, and especially the hydrogen policy and there have been a lot of incentives for the manufacturing of solar in India, and they have increased the custom duty on import. And secondly, health sector. Health sector, especially the Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Yojana, that's a very good initiative where they want to include more people in the health. They can provide health and basic health infrastructure in rural areas. That is another takeaway from this
Okay, Dr.
budget.
Mehta, the markets are up 1,500 points. Now, I'm not being using the Sensex
Yes,
as a benchmark.
markets are up. That means, this is one of the signals that the market has really...
But why? Why? What is the market seeing here?
Why? Because,
What is the market seeing here?
Rishabh, in fact, first of all, we can see that we are inviting a lot of NRI money in the country. They have, and also we have seen that there is a significant increase from 49% to 74% as far as insurance sector is concerned. And infrastructure spending, as the market was actually hoping that there will be a lot of focus on the infrastructure. All these things are as per the expectation of the market. Healthcare sector, the infrastructure sector, MSME sector, they plan to do many things now. New MSME, mechanism and dispute resolution mechanism for MSMEs. One of the, basic problem for MSMEs is once, they have a financial problem to resolve the disputes, they are coming out with this mechanism. This is a very welcome step for MSMEs.
All right. Okay, Priya, let me take the other thing. Poll going states, Tamil Nadu getting a mega bonanza, Kerala mega bonanza, a bone throw to Bengal and to Assam, but the big ticket has been Tamil Nadu, from the metro to the highways to a complete port redevelopment. This is tens of thousands of crores has been promised to that state. How much of this really helps?
No surprises, Rishabh, because this was going to be every budget has a political part, every government does it, and we were expecting it. And as Nirmala Sitharaman says, there are other projects also which are there in the statement which she didn't spend time announcing. Because for airtime, they made the right comments. They set the narrative to the states that they want to reach out right now. Other states will also get it, but the states they want to highlight, she's highlighted really in her budget speech. So in that sense, Rishabh, the politics of the budget was also there, whether it was the MSP or the bonanza for the election going states.
Okay, but what do we make of it? Do we make of it as cliched budgetary tactics, or if you're sitting in Tamil Nadu, you're actually feeling grateful that somebody is paying attention to you for the first time after a long time? Priya?
Definitely, there were, sorry, from Rishabh for me?
Yes, it is.
So, no, clearly it's going to, send the right thing going, because what the BJP is selling in Tamil Nadu especially and Kerala is that, it's not really in power, but it is going to be supporting a party, in an alliance. So they're going to say this working with the center and the state, if the center and state work together, then a lot of good things happen. And this is one example of the good things that can happen. So in that sense, the message, the narrative setting was very well done in terms of the BJP, because at the end of the day, they have to also, they're in the business of politics, not just economics. So in that sense, it's set the narrative right for them, and every party does it. So in that sense, I don't see any problem with that really.
Okay. So every party does it. Let me try, if Ashutosh can hear us again. Ashutosh,
yes.
There has been no change in the principal taxes that you and I are going to pay. But from the perspective that we are now going to be clearing up compliances, the windows have been reduced for scrutiny, there has been a decriminalization activity that has already been completed and is going to be completed. How does this make life easier for you and I?
Yes, it certainly does make life easier for the corporates. But as Sharmistha said, it's not a wow budget. It's certainly not a wow budget. The salary slabs have not been increased. No work from home benefits have been given. No concession for the employees working from home has been given. So it's not a wow budget. Yes, the corporates have benefited and will be benefited due to the tax holiday. Startups are incentivized, but they ought to have given more benefits to the common man, like you and me.
Okay, more benefits should have been given, more handed out. Gautam Mukherjee, should we be feeling short-shifted in the middle class, that once again we got nothing?
I can't see how we could have expected anything in a time like this. The best driver, the middle class is impossible to please. You give them something, it's not enough. You don't give them something, it's not enough. But if you do something about growth, and this is a very growth oriented budget, if implementation proceeds at a good clip, we should all benefit.
Okay, if implementation, now it's all about implementation, then what does Dr. Ranit actually implementation mean? Because government, and I was discussing this with you right before the speech, sir, that let's watch out for the figures of what government promised it would spend versus what it actually spent. Now the government is now telling us we have spent more than we budgeted last year. We have spent to the tune of 2 lakh crores, so near about 10% more than the budget has been spent already and pumped into the Indian economy. Is that a healthy sign of the government keeping its word?
You see, now with the situation getting normalized, I think it's very important that we have to implement, like they have announced 7 textile parks. So until and unless these are implemented in real terms, it has no meaning. So therefore, implementation is always a very critical factor. But like since this budget is about boosting the consumption as well, even the setting the tone for next maybe decade, because it's very important budget that way, which is focusing on reforms. But I would also say that for housing sector, the extension of 1 year for affordable housing, the rebate which is for common man. So this is a very good sign, and also for
Can
industry.
you explain how does this help me? If I'm sitting out there, how does this help me? 1 year extension and rebate, what does it actually do for me?
That means anyone who is buying affordable housing that is below 50 lakhs, so he'll get an extra 1,50,000 rebate on his taxes that are
Because it gets added, you can get it for 1 more year, so that value is another 1.5 lakhs.
Yeah, that's right. That means some people who could not buy a house due to COVID situation, due to the fear psychosis that was created because of COVID, they'll be wanting to buy the house in 2021-22. If they do that, that means it is a more revival of the economy. The focus of this budget is also on revival, because survival has been there in last year. So this is the budget for the
Dr.
revival.
Mehta, government says 7,500 projects, infrastructure projects have been taken up, 7,500, of which they say 400 we've already completed. They say that when it comes to roads, we are going to be building roads like no tomorrow, 13,000 kilometers already sanctioned, of which a large percentage already completed. That completed mark, which is the tick mark, one is awarded and the other is completed. Awarded and completed, how important is that in the report card?
Rishabh, this is extremely important because we can see that there's a lot of work happening in road and highway sector in the country. Today we see in Delhi and around Delhi what kind of work is being done. So this is extremely critical because the construction activity actually propels the economy, and construction including the real estate sector, because these are the sectors which actually affect more than 250 ancillary industries around it. Therefore, this is extremely critical, and focus on infrastructure means the economy is going to revive very soon, and that is the focus of the government.
Okay, so now this is it's about getting there. Now there is a report card in the budget as well as a plan. Both have been delivered. Vijay Bhushan joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Bhushan, good afternoon. Your quick take, sir, before I ask you some specifics.
Good afternoon.
You asking me?
Dr. Bhushan, if you can hear us, sir, your quick take before I ask specific questions, sir.
I think this is basically, as far as the markets are concerned, a relief rally. The markets had gone down by 7.8% prior to the budget itself. So now that there is no additional, taxation, what was being talked of, increase in long-term capital gains, or any increase in securities transaction tax, I think it's a relief rally. Plus, of course, the insurance sector being now opened up from 49 to 74%.
Okay, so
I think
so
those are the highlights
those are the
for
two
the
obvious
immediate reaction. Of course, we'll have to go through the fine print.
Okay, fine print important, but I when you're seeing the report card, sir, and you're being told that as opposed to a budgeted expenditure of 32 lakh crores, Government of India has actually spent 34 lakh crores. Does that give you an indication that we've actually spent extra and it's okay to have the fiscal deficit at near 10%?
Actually, I don't think there was a choice this year. In fact, our total amount spent perhaps will come to the lowest in the world in terms of the size of our economy as a percentage of GDP. So I think the government did not have much choice In the coming year, of course, they have, if you will note, curtailed it to the same level of expenditure, and with revenues increasing, basically that is what is going to bring down the deficit to 6.8%.
Okay, LIC going IPO, BPCL, Air India we knew about. Of special purpose vehicles, special companies to now look at monetization of government assets at a different scale. 1 lakh crore target. Now, divestment targets, large targets have been set in the past, sir. But this conceptualization of putting the railway land, the central ministry's land, the NHAI land into use, either sell it or lease it, how is that going to make an impact to the economy?
Frankly, I think we'll have to see what is going to happen. BPCL was to be disinvestment 2 years earlier. So we still have not done that. So merely by saying that we will disinvest, that doesn't happen. And we have seen that in the past. The disinvestment target has been lowered from 2,10,000 crores to 1,75,000 crores this year. The government has failed to meet the disinvestment target, even though market was at a lifetime high. So I think it will need more resolve for the government. And frankly, I think if they can manage the LIC IPO, the LIC IPO itself will bring about 1 lakh crores to the government.
Okay, LIC IPO in itself. When it comes now to us to do and worry about where India Inc. is headed, sir, are you getting an indication that this is government getting out of the way?
I think yes. Because they're opening up the sectors, and I think that's a very positive development. And frankly, as I said, it's a relief rally. Government hasn't done too much. And when I mean too much means too much negative. It's basically a continuation of what was happening, and I think that's seen as a big positive.
Okay, R&D, special hubs to be created, glue funds to be granted, state governments to be incentivized, a higher education commission now to look at all the confusion we have of some CBSE separate, NCERT separate. How important is this going to be, sir?
All this, as I was hearing on your program, is a matter of implementation. Intent very good, but let's see what happens on the ground.
Okay, so coming down to happening on the ground. One practical question: one-person companies up to no limit of revenue. Only 120 days you need to live in India. NRIs can also set up OPCs. Does this open it up for the diaspora?
It does open, but the fact is that unless you have a good revenue model, it doesn't really happen, in the sense that we already have existing companies. Why are they not enhancing capacity, expanding? It's because you have to see the revenue model. You have to see the opportunity. So the enabling is being done, but I think ultimately it's the opportunity in the market.
Okay, opportunity in the market. So I'm going to ask you about that in just a bit. But banks and all the NPAs that have been put together, an asset reconstruction company and an asset management company to be set up, I'm assuming is to collate all these dead assets into one umbrella organization and potentially either buy them off the banks or help the banks monetize. Will this be the end, or at least the beginning of the end of the NPA problem, which has been going on for almost 4 or 5 years, sir?
I hope so. The NPA problem will also perhaps balloon up once the definition of NPA, which was relaxed in the COVID period, is brought back to normal. However, I am quite positive there. I think things will look up and the NPA problem will tend, it may go up just now, but then it is well under control.
Okay, now on the larger picture of things, that if this is not the headline grabbing budget, it's more of a getting a stable base going forward budget. In that assessment, sir, can this turn us around from a negative GDP into an 11%, 12% hope that we have for the following year, sir?
Definitely it will turn us around. But will 11% happen? I would also like to draw your attention.
Okay, what's happened to the connection? Who's in PCR? Okay, when you get that back, please call me back. Gautam, let me put that question to you then. Is this the turnaround budget? Because we were expecting something to make the headlines all over the world. Have we seen something that makes the headlines all over the world? Is the health, is the infrastructure big enough?
Very dynamic. It's good to see something like this after a series of almost clerical budgets with minor tinkering going on.
Okay, so what's your big takeaway? Is the health your big takeaway? Is the fact that if you're going to have this asset
it's
management
infrastructure. It's what I was saying before the budget was presented. I say it again now. It is to do with monetization on the one hand, the railways on the other, roads, ports, all that is extremely dynamic. Now, special purpose vehicles, because if you leave it to the bureaucracy, half of them don't want all this to happen. They come from an earlier time. And this is where we fall down, because implementation is something that has to be driven. And in order to drive that, is the PMO going to drive everything? Or are you going to have somebody and different vehicles for different things to make it happen in a time-bound manner? If that is evident in a year, then I think we're onto a very good thing.
Okay, let me get Priya back in. Priya, in the end, are we feeling that there are no new taxes in a difficult year? Government is not bothered about the deficit spending. They're taking huge borrowings to pay for all of this. They have covered the basics in terms of the legislative cleanup mess that now needs to do. Do we then go home tonight and saying that we are feeling quietly confident, if not euphoric, but this is a little bit of feel good for us to be quietly confident?
Absolutely, Rishabh. I was saying, people are approaching this budget with this government. There's always been a degree of fear. So I think that's what this government has really tried to reassure, at least in this budget, that this is not a government that is coming after you. This is actually a government that, as you mentioned in your opening statement, it's going to try and enable you, try and help. So but the problem with this government is that, it makes all the right statements, but the delivery is very poor. So I agree with Gautam and Sharmista. We really have to wait and see how this plays out, because this government's delivery record is really bad. The fact that we're encouraging private people, we've also increased the FDI and insurance, something that the Vajpayee government really tried to do, and the RSS didn't let them. But now, of course, Prime Minister Modi has got greater heft or greater, he's managed to push that through. He's managed to push through a lot of bold reform moves. It is a budget for growth, and they're trying to do growth three ways. One is increased spending in infrastructure. Second is reforms like, by bringing in FDI. And third is, of course, the sale of PSUs. That's also a thing. Sale of PSUs has been on the government's agenda for so long. We've been hearing about Air India for so long. Yeah. There have been no takers. Because there is a lack of trust in the government. That is something that the Prime Minister Modi and his team really have tried to work, I think, hard.
So if I take it down the other notch, Gautam Mukherjee, this monetization budget, by which I mean all the surplus land which is lying around these central universities, central ministries, with the railways, with the NHI on the sides of the highways, which is, I'm assuming, worth lakhs and lakhs of crores. Is it possible to monetize it? If I just look away from the LIC IPO for a second.
I was raising my finger to make this very point. What happens with divestment, monetization, is certain orthodoxy will say, look, I want to get the highest price I can. I want to get the competitive price if I were in the private sector and this was a private sector deal. That is not what the person who wants to buy is looking at. He wants a bargain. So when you want to buy public sector land or you want to lease it, you want to be given a strong incentive to do all the actual work, which is that it's been lying around with the NHAI or the defense or the railways. And what have they done with it? Zip. So if you haven't used it and you now want to monetize it, you've got to be very generous in terms of getting
Okay.
the thing off the ground.
Okay.
You can, in other countries that I know of, in the Gulf, for example, where I used to work, what the government would do is really featherbed it for the private sector. Of course, the scale of operations were minuscule compared to our country, but finance it and featherbed it and so on. And at the end of the day, when it's up and running, they'd sell it to them.
Okay.
So not only do they hold the hand of the, suppose it's leased, and not only do you hold the private sector's hand and pamper it, but later on you sell it outright to them as a going concern.
Okay.
So, we don't think like this, and therefore we always get stuck.
Okay, let me get Sharmishta back in on this. Sharmishta, from a pretty practical point of view, okay, from the building up of the conversation we were having in the morning, that are we seeing the government saying that I am here to empower you, or do we have a government saying I'm here to tell you what to do?
A bit of
I think the intention of the government is the former, that I am here to empower you. Okay? All these PSUs, they have so much of property lying. I completely agree. Divestment was to happen. It has to happen, because that is the reason the PSUs were giving that kind of, asset base when they were formed. That aage chalkar, whenever it is required, the country can use it to its, to improve itself or whatever, monetize it. However, my point of discord is here the current timing. I don't think it was the best timing. The trust in government is low. We just had a pandemic year. Economy is in shambles. Now suddenly you're coming up with these are very heavy-handed reforms, and all my panelists will agree that ek saal mein to no kamal is going to happen. Even if these are to be implemented, the effects are going to show in like coming 5 years or so. So can we survive that? That is my concern here. And, to balance it out, nothing was given. Like since morning and since last few days, we have been talking about direct transfers, direct benefits, so on and so forth. So if something was done, then probably this could have gone in tandem. Now, suddenly the way I look at it, because that was not done. So it's like, okay, the intent is all good. I have always been pro reforms of every kind. We're just seeing the effect of a reform which was not thought through properly on the streets right now. And in this given very charged political atmosphere, I am not very sure. It's a very wait and watch thing.
Okay, it's a wait and watch thing. A lot in this
Yes.
country is wait and watch, but we have to now decide what is the point of implementation. Because honestly, if half the things announced are implemented, those always bring about systemic change. India is too big a country
Of course.
that government can manage it. Government job is to get out of the way. Vijay Bhushan, are we seeing government getting out of the way?
I think there is definitely an effort. There is one more thing I would like to highlight. I think that's not. They have talked of, two commercial banks and one insurance company.
Yeah, to divest.
The speech did not contain the details, but I would assume that they are planning to privatize that. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, so we're looking at IDBI already, LIC IPO, and these two commercial banks and one general insurance company, and that's a divestment target. They're not named which one, but that's interesting. But my original question to you, sir, is the government getting out of
Correct.
the way of Team India and saying, you guys now go for broke? We are going to start cleaning up the mess that we have created for 80 years of regulation and over-regulation.
Well, I think they're trying to get out of the way, but I think that regulation and complex regulation is still an issue. It has not really been, because I have seen ease of doing business is not really happening on the ground. You can have policies, but on the ground, the ease of doing business is not happening. And should that happen, I'm sure we as a country, we as people, will definitely be able to, show results.
Okay, so more
For
focus
example,
on, yeah, go ahead,
even
finish your thought.
In the capital markets, the regulation is fairly complex, and I spend 75%, 3/4 of my time ensuring that we comply with new rules rather than on market development.
Completely novel idea, and I don't know how this is going to be done, but a huge amount of money has been put out for it, of allowing consumers in this country to choose their power distributors. Now, this is done in the UK, it can be done in America, that you can choose the rate and which company you want to more than one. Is that something that we should actually be looking at as an implementable? Is it a desirable thing? Vijay Bhushan?
Well, definitely desirable. But this choice we were supposed to have in Delhi also. But did we have a choice? No, because there was only one particular utility company that was giving you electricity. So you need to actually build in the options. Very desirable, but practically feasible? Question mark.
Okay, let me get Ashutosh back into this conversation. Ashutosh, should we then just simply say that in a year when government's finances were in a lot of trouble, the very fact that there are no new taxes, that should be relief enough for us and a takeaway and move on and let the country carry on?
So the tax relief should have been there, sir. The tax relief is a basic, as Gautam said, middle class can be pleased, but you want to give some benefit to the middle class. The middle class, the service sector, travel, event, hospitality, wedding sector constitutes almost the half of the employment, half of the service sector of the country. So you ought to respect that. During the pandemic, this was the biggest sector that was affected. So you ought to give a tax holiday, you ought to give an incentive to that sector. And so the salary sector. So the salary sector is the biggest taxpayers of this country. They pay almost their 20 to 30% of their salary. So you ought to give them a major benefit due to the pandemic. Many have lost jobs.
Okay,
many have
so there is heartbreak over tax relief. Gautam Mukherjee, same question to you. Should we just be satisfied that there's nothing more to us to pay because the tax relief hasn't come our way and that's leading to a lot of heartbreak, a lot of disappointed people out there?
I cannot hold my hand over my heart and say, look, I deserve a tax break in this terrible time after COVID. It doesn't work like that. Now, having, you can want because it's always nice to get something.
Okay, Gautam, just hang a second. We're getting a reaction to Nitin Gadkari. His ministry is going to be pivotal, receiving a large amount of the funds in the budget. Let's listen in.
और इसके कारण क्या होगा कि हमारी जो अभी वर्ल्ड के सभी ब्रांड्स हमारे देश में प्रेजेंट है, मर्सिडीज से लेकर ऑल बिग मैन्युफैक्चर आ रहे हैं. अब हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिक, इथेनॉल, मिथेनॉल, बायोडीजल, बायो सीएनजी और हाइड्रोजन फ्यूल सेल को भी इनकरेज कर रहे हैं. और कल अभी आने वाले 4-5 दिन में, अगले सप्ताह में शायद मीटिंग तय हुई है. प्रधानमंत्री जी के साइंटिफिक एडवाइज़र राघवन साहब, नीति आयोग और हमने ये जो लिथियम आयन बैटरी होती है, ये लिथियम आयन हमारे देश में नहीं है, तो इसका अल्टरनेटिव जो है एयर आयन और अलग दूसरे मेटल के आयन, एल्यूमिनियम या स्टील आयन, तो इसके आधार पर हमारी बैटरी बने और इसमें रिसर्च हो ताकि हमारी ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री जो है स्वावलंबी बने और हम लोग हमारे वर्ल्ड में हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी के आधार पर हमें कोई इंपोर्ट करने की आवश्यकता नहीं पड़े. तो अभी पहली बात तो ऐसी है कि हमने लिथियम आयन बैटरी हमको इंपोर्ट करनी पड़ती है, तो इसका भी काम हमने शुरू किया है. ये जो स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी हुई है, इसमें 51 लाख लाइट मोटर व्हीकल जो है, जो 20 साल से पुराने हैं, ये स्क्रैप हो जाएंगे. तो जो गाड़ी स्क्रैप करेगा वो नहीं लेने वाला ही है. तो ये ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री को और बढ़ावा मिलेगा. 34 लाख लाइट मोटर व्हीकल आर ओल्डर दैन 15 ईयर्स एंड 51 लाख लाइट मोटर व्हीकल आर ओल्डर दैन 20 ईयर्स. बाद में 17 लाख मीडियम एंड हेवी कमर्शियल व्हीकल, 17 लाख ओल्डर दैन 15 ईयर्स विदाउट वैलिड फिटनेस सर्टिफिकेट. अब ये 17 लाख और ये संख्या जो है, ये मैं जो देख रहा हूँ, ये करीब 1 करोड़ से ज़्यादा व्हीकल है. ये पोल्यूशन कर रहे थे, क्योंकि जितना पुरानी टेक्नोलॉजी है वो एयर पोल्यूशन भी कर रहे थे, फ्यूल भी ज़्यादा खा रहे थे. तो अब ये और अदर ओल्डर व्हीकल पोल्यूट 10 to 12 टाइम्स मोर दैन फिट व्हीकल, यानी 10 से 12 गुना ज़्यादा पोल्यूशन कर रहे थे. तो पहली बात तो ऐसे कि रिड्यूस पॉपुलेशन ऑफ ओल्ड एंड डिफेक्टिव व्हीकल्स ऑन रोड, ये पहला एडवांटेज में पोल्यूशन कम होगा. दूसरा एडवांटेज 25 से 30% रिडक्शन इन व्हीकुलर एयर पोल्यूटेंट्स, इसमें इसकी कमी होगी. तीसरी बात, इम्प्रूव्ड रोड सेफ्टी, न्यूअर व्हीकल मीट रोड सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स. बिकॉज ऑफ इम्प्रूव्ड मटेरियल एंड व्हीकल टेक्नोलॉजी इसमें फ़ायदा ये होगा कि जो स्क्रैपिंग होगा तो स्टील, रबर, एल्यूमिनियम, कॉपर जो वेस्ट निकलेगा, अभी हम लोग कॉपर इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, एल्यूमिनियम इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, और मैं आपको पहले बता चुका हूँ कि हमने हमारे पोर्ट का, मैं जब मंत्री था तो ये इसी के लिए 18 मीटर ड्राफ्ट बढ़ा है। तो दुनिया का भंगार 2 लाख टन के शिप में अपने यहाँ आएगा, वो बहुत सस्ता आएगा, थ्रोइंग प्राइस पे आएगा, और फिर उससे हम लोग सेग्रीगेट करेंगे मेटल को, एल्यूमिनियम, कॉपर, प्लास्टिक, रबर, और फिर उसका रिसाइकलिंग करेंगे। तो जो स्पेयर पार्ट्स 100 रुपये में मिलता था वो 60 रुपये या 65 रुपये में बनेगा। तो वर्ल्ड के कंपटीशन में हम लोग सबसे सस्ते होंगे, और इसलिए ये इंडस्ट्री हमारे यहाँ बढ़ेगी। इसमें मटेरियल, इसके कारण फ्यूल इफिशिएंसी बढ़ेगी। मैं जब कॉलेज में था तो स्कूटर मैंने खरीदी की थी, तब 32 किलोमीटर इन्हें अच्छा एवरेज समझ रहा था। मैं बजाज की स्कूटर मैंने ली थी और कहता था कि मेरी स्कूटर का एवरेज 32 है। अभी जो बाइक आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं वो 80 किलोमीटर तक गई है। तो इसका मतलब ये जो पुराने सब जाएंगे और नए आएंगे, तो इसमें जो इम्पोर्ट है 8 लाख करोड़ का, वो भी कम होगा, पोल्यूशन भी कम होगा, फ्यूल इफिशिएंसी बढ़ेगी, और लाइट वेट व्हीकल है, इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी बदली हुई है। रिड्यूस फ्यूल कंजम्पशन एंड फॉरेन का जो अपना फॉरेन डॉलर में जो है, फॉरेन का अपना ये डॉलर है वो इसमें बचेगा। न्यूअर हेवी कमर्शियल व्हीकल आर 3 to 6% मोर फ्यूल इफिशिएंट। ये ट्रक वगैरह में काफ़ी इसमें फ़ायदा होगा। और इम्प्रूव्ड सेफ्टी फीचर्स सच एज एयर बैग्स, ABS एंड क्रैश नॉर्म्स। अभी मैंने ट्रांसपोर्ट मंत्री होने के नाते एयर बैग्स को भी मैंडेटरी किया है। तो ये मुझे लगता है ये सब फ़ायदा होगा। इससे करीब 10,000 करोड़ की नई इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगी और करीब 50,000 नए जॉब क्रिएट होंगे ये स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी के कारण। टाइमली फिटनेस चेक, इमिशन नॉर्म्स एंड ऑपरेशनल कंडीशंस ऑफ व्हीकल्स थ्रू ऑटोमेटेड मॉनिटरिंग सिस्टम। अब देश में हम ये सिस्टम बड़े प्रमाण पर खड़े कर रहे हैं ड्राइविंग ट्रेनिंग सेंटर के साथ। एंड ऑफ लाइफ क्राइटेरिया अंडर द पॉलिसी वुड बी बेनिफिशियल टू रिमूव मोस्ट अनफिट डिफेक्टिव व्हीकल्स। अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ लो कॉस्ट रॉ मटेरियल फॉर स्क्रैपिंग इंडस्ट्री, ये मैंने आपको बताया। तो स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी बहुत दिनों से थी, वो इसमें आई है, और आज मैंने बेनिफिट आपको बताया। मैं आज से 15 दिन के अंदर, क्योंकि वित्त मंत्री जी ने हमारे को अधिकार दिया है, मैं स्क्रैपिंग पॉलिसी डिक्लेयर करने का काम करूंगा। ये जो विशेष रूप से हमारी भारतमाला परियोजना जो है, उसमें 24,800 किलोमीटर हमने लेंथ ली थी, और उसमें से 10,206 किलोमीटर जो है ऑलरेडी अंडर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है, और कुछ पूरी भी हुई है। तो निश्चित रूप से अभी NHI की लेंथ है टोटल 1,36,521 किलोमीटर, और ये अलग अलग प्रकार के इसमें बिहार का पैकेज है, जम्मू कश्मीर का पैकेजेस है, बाकी भी इसमें भारतमाला परियोजना में ली गई है। तो ओवरऑल मेरा विश्वास है कि देश का जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, आज आप देख रहे हैं, वैसे मैं जब मंत्री बना तो उस समय से आज के 5 साल में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में करीब 50-60% इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सुधर गया है, और इस 5 साल में हमारा रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड के बराबरी में होगा, और कुछ हमारे 22 ग्रीन हाईवे जो बन रहे हैं।
Okay, that was Nitin Gadkari there announcing the vehicular scrapping policy, the highway policy, very crucial. His ministry is going to be a recipient of large amounts of fund. His ministry is also sitting on the large amounts of land parcels which have to be monetized. Let me quickly get Bimal Jain into this conversation. He is the chairman of the Indirect Tax Committee over at PhD. Mr. Jain, appreciate your time over here, sir. What is your immediate assessment? Because are we just relieved that there are no new taxes? Should we take it from there?
See, at the moment, new taxes, yes, I do agree, this is the right approach at the moment. We are just passing through COVID-19. It is, from my perspective, looks like better that we have not tinkered and we have not done anything in the tax rate. This is the correct one. Maybe you can also question this one, that some relief could have been given, but we have to look at the balancing act at the moment. We have to settle down, and for settling down, it is highly advisable that we should not really tinkle with the tax rate at the moment.
Are you seeing predictability in tax policy, sir?
About.
Are you seeing predictability in tax policy now?
Yeah, see what happened when we talk about Yeah, definitely, yes. That is what the vision given to us, and that's what is being sounded by Honorable Finance Minister. And it is clearly being stated that whatever we are doing, we want to have long-term vision and path way forward. That is what's stated throughout in the budget.
Okay, so now there is no indirect tax conversation here, sir, because GST, of course, goes to the GST Council. Now, what do we now need the GST Council to do to aid and abet the budget?
No, from indirect taxes, I would like to highlight here that what they have done, keeping the vision of Honorable Prime Minister, vocal for local, make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. You have seen custom duty got rationalized sector specific, like iron, steel, chemical, automobile. You have seen those announcements. Now rates are being rationalized on the raw material, so that raw material can be imported at a cheaper rate and used for the local manufacturing. So from custom duty perspective, of course, they have taken a part, they have rationalized the rate to make sure raw material can be imported at a cheaper rate and can be used for local manufacturing. That will add values for vocal for local. Only for some of the sector we have seen that, like mobile, custom duty rate is, you have seen that increase. That may have some negative impact. Otherwise, gold and silver rate is being reduced from 12.5% to 2.5%. So from custom duty perspective,
what will you say, sir? Is this a budget? And I know it's an oversimplification, but is it a budget that we should be comfortable with? Is it a budget we should be satisfied with? Is it something we should be happy with or sad with?
No, I would be satisfied. I would be saying it's a balancing budget, because we have to understand we have just passing through COVID-19. Last year was a hectic year for all of us together, not only for India, worldwide across. So we have to take balanced approach and way forward budget, and that is what Honorable Finance Minister has taken a path. She has not done anything which is going contradictory, creating any problem and complication, giving vision and way forward, giving predictability, and helping local manufacturers.
Okay, quick last question, Mr. Jain. Quick last question. Health and infra. Are we setting up the stage for a major revolution here? Because infra is barreling along. Health required a lot of work, and in some cases the schemes they've seen their money doubled.
Yes, definitely. Yes, look at healthcare. From healthcare perspective, announcement of 68,000 crore rupees, and lot of initiative they are taking up in healthcare, which is a way forward. What we are looking in a healthcare sector, even infrastructure, 6 pillar which you talk about, Honorable Finance Minister has touched today. These two sectors, healthcare and infrastructure, was the main frame. And she was talking about how to do revamping in the healthcare and the infrastructure, because these sectors are going to create infrastructure, employment, and a lot of GDP growth, boosting to the GDP growth, which we all are looking for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jain. Appreciate your time. I'm going to let you go as we run short of time. Let me quickly go last word from our panel before we take a break and open it up on the other side to the political war, for which Priya will be joining us also. Sharmishta, where do we go from here? Here we are, budgetary exercise. Once upon a time used to be the biggest deal in the world. Now it is something that happens, and we've been given a lot of detailing. There has been no big bang other than the health and infrastructure, which genuinely is a big bang. Yes, it's implementation, but Sharmishta, should we be satisfied? Should we be disappointed? Should we be exuberant?
You see, there is no point being disappointed. We have just survived the pandemic. There is no point being disappointed. Were we expecting more? I personally, yes, I was expecting more, but this is now what we have. There is nothing to be disappointed. We have to now move with the new thought process. We have to actually welcome New India, however you want to see it, but this is here to stay.
So you have a reservedly satisfied Sharmishta. Gautam Mukherjee, are you a happy man, a sad man, or are you going,
Look, the guarantee in this budget, like all the other budgets that Modi has done, is infrastructure. If monetization doesn't work out too well because of bureaucracy and red tape, if disinvestment doesn't work out because of the same, infrastructure will barrel along and keep us afloat. So I'm very happy about that.
Okay.
What they're putting to railways, what they're putting to roads, ports, etc., is all excellent and something I can hang my hat on. And I need to wear a hat, as you can see.
Okay. Slightly happy, Ashutosh Agarwal. So what's in your assessment, sir? Slightly happy, satisfied, okay, or disappointed?
Very happy with the liquidity and the infrastructure reforms, and especially the health reforms. But sadly, on the ground, the government needs to, release some scrutiny assessments. Let the business flow. Let the business and customers thrive. Decrease the assessment. Decrease the bureaucracy around the business. For once,
okay,
let them get out of the pandemic and then make a
okay.
statement.
Priya, I'm going to take a quick question with you, and you stay on with us because we'll have the political debate on the other side of the break. But Priya Sehgal, are you feeling energetic? Did you enjoy the speech better than last time? Something more substantive?
And definitely the speech was shorter. I think that is one thing which a lot of people, panelists that I've been talking to, had requested. So yes, speech was better than last time in that sense. The big part, of course, takeaway is that there were no new taxes, no new cess in terms of the direct taxes. Of course, there are other cess that have come, especially in the agriculture sector, which I find a little puzzling, really. It was expected, the expenditure on health was expected. I mean, a time like this, if you don't spend on health, what do you do? But I do agree, the salaried class should have looked out for more. We've had job cuts, we've had pay cuts, we've lost jobs. We needed a little bit more. We've all dipped into our savings. Otherwise, you increase the interest rate of the savings, make our savings more profitable for us this year. At least give us something in our hands. That I found was missing from this budget.
Okay.
Otherwise, all in all, a better budget than expected from this government.
Okay, better. Okay, I'm going to be taking the opportunity of roping in Harshpati Singhania, if you can hear us. Ms. Singhania, if my voice is reaching you, let me quickly rope you in, sir, before I take the opportunity of taking a break. What's your larger assessment, sir, before we get into certain specifics? Mr. Singhania.
It's a positive budget, and in the circumstances where it was difficult to juggle things, it has been well done. There is a lot of thrust on expenditure, capital expenditure, which is very important. And actually, the capital expenditure outlay the finance minister announced is higher by 34%, which is pretty substantial. As well as the fact that capital expenditure as a percentage to GDP has also gone up. So there is focus on infrastructure. There is through the vehicle scrappage. So infrastructure means ports, roads, metro, everything put in there. Right. So the vehicle scrappage policy and about city buses. I thought I heard 20,000 of them. So automobile and infrastructure, as in construction industry and construction industries, are many multiplier industries. And therefore, they connect with a whole lot of other manufacturing and other service industries. So if trust is there on that should help in terms of the economy.
Okay, a practical question, sir. Yeah, just a practical question, because other industries that, been hurting and bleeding, been hoping for something to take place. If you're in tourism, if you're in, if you're in F&B, if you're in these spaces, I know there might be some line items that come out in the detailing, and I'm sure there are, because even the defense expenditure has not been discussed in the speech. So there will be line items. But are you feeling a bit disappointed if you're in these sectors today?
Yeah, the service sectors from these that you mentioned don't find a direct mention, but I'm sure there is something. But I just want to add something which maybe not be budgetary context, but if you look at the new unlock guidelines, there you see there has been an easing up in terms of cinema halls, hotels, the number of people who can gather, etc. So maybe it's a collateral which will come out of that. But a couple of other things I want to quickly point out. This whole focus on disinvestment, strategic sale, including land monetization and monetization of, if I may say, unutilized or idle assets by the government. That's a big one. And they're looking at 1.75 lakh crores to come from this. So it's really going to be the challenge of implementation in this year. But this is a big positive.
Okay.
Also, two PSU banks, one insurance, and the other is the insurance company FDI going up, of course, with some caveats. And the DFI in infrastructure, something that the industry has been asking for. So there are many things in there.
Okay. Are you confident, sir, markets at record highs, that they will be able to absorb an LIC IPO pretty comfortably, potentially?
LIC IPO is a big one, but the markets are very positive, and then we'll also have foreign, there is a large FPI inflow in the country as well. So we'll have to look at that. And actually, the whole thing is the government should take advantage of the buoyant capital markets to be able to actually get good value for their disinvestment. So that is very important.
Okay,
I just want to make
go ahead, finish your thought.
if I may, on agriculture, which is the other important thing, the operations green, which was, for example, restricted to 3 items earlier, has now been opened up for 22 items. The whole focus on agriculture, infrastructure development. So these are other things which I think are positives coming out of this budget.
Okay, irrigation and others. Okay, novel idea, an asset management company and an asset restructuring company. I'm assuming this is going to collate all those properties that banks are supposed to auction. They've been sitting for 10, 20 years and they just simply don't move. Can this finally help clean this up once and for all?
I don't know the once and for all, but it will certainly help in doing it because you're consolidating and putting in place a mechanism to do it in a structured manner. And that is more important, to do it in a structured manner. This is not a bad bank, all right, but this is something which is going to be a reconstruction and management company. So things will happen, and yes, there are a lot of stress loans, and therefore this should be a more systematic way to clean it up and monetize this.
Okay, quick question, sir. I mean, is it 9.5% a deficit expected and no problem?
Look, problems are going to be there, but I think the question is, which do you choose? To be conservative or to go for growth and take some risks and manage those risks as they come? So I would actually commend the budget to say that they have taken a very realistic approach in terms of saying, and be bold enough to say we'll have a 9.5% deficit, which we hope to bring down to 6.8, and actually have a glide path to come down to 4.5% targeted in 25-26. I think this is what industry was saying. We've been saying, I've been saying that we should be bold on this and not be conservative, be overly worried about inflation and what happens.
Okay, so we got the tax rate, corporate tax rate down, to I think a real figure of 25. Now OPCs. Just 120-day residency in India, NRIs are being welcomed, and unlimited revenue you can earn. Does this help our extended friends and family living abroad thinking that they have an opportunity in India now?
I think this is a positive move. I must confess, I'll have to see the fine print on this, but this seems to be in the right direction.
R&D, sir. R&D hubs being set up, big push on that front, and including what is being described to me as glue loans, which is fascinating. How do we get this right? Is the government at least talking about R&D?
R&D is a long-term thing, but the thrust in terms of saying that we want to be innovative, we want to have more R&D, and the outlays that you've seen in terms of the healthcare sector in particular, and others as well, is all positive. We'll have to see how it's going to roll out, but I think this is definitely required if we want an Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Okay.
And if we domestic businesses to grow.
Okay, quick last couple of questions, sir. They are cleaning up the entire decriminalization in the taxation activity. One, I believe they've said, Nirmala Sitharaman said has been completed. Another set is being started. Cleaning up these issues where, and if a tax officer gets upset with you, and forget financial penalty powers, they can send you to jail. How important are these small things, sir?
These are very important because actually one issue of big concern that has happened was there a lot of offences or transgressors which should have actually been civil had actually moved gradually over the years into criminal jurisdiction, which is completely retrograde, and therefore this decriminalization is a right way. If you frankly ask me, there's more to be done. We have still got many laws and regulations which have criminal proceedings, so this is right, but more needs to be done.
Quick last word, sir. If you are in an entrepreneurial sector, if you're running an MSME or you're a startup, are you feeling the government is with you or at least getting out of your way?
MSME is one big area which requires thrust, and the finance minister did talk about MSME and the focus on MSME. We need to see much more of the fine print to understand exactly what exactly will affect. But two things. One is if the main core sector engines grow, the MSMEs will also come along.
Okay, thanks.
The easy credit policy, credit flow will aid that. And some of the areas, if I heard the finance minister, is in terms of duty rationalization, custom duty rationalization to aid certain MSME sectors. That is what we got to see.
Okay, Harshpati Singhania, thanks very much for joining us. I'm going to thank Sharmishta and Gautam as well.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.